When you see food like this or this, you'd probably think that I spend hours every day toiling away in the kitchen to whip up these fresh, home-cooked meals. But in fact, even though I never order out and I cook pretty much every single meal myself, I only spend around 4 hours a week actually cooking and about $50 a week in groceries. Despite loving the idea of cooking, of being the Indian Julia child, it can be tedious. And now that we're still having to figure out how to feed ourselves 3 times a day, cooking can feel like just another chore. But it doesn't have to be that way. Now that I'm back at my own place, I've devised a master cooking plan, my minimalist meal prep, which isn't really meal prep at all. So let me share exactly what I eat for dinner every single day and just how much time and money this saves me. And really, all of this boils down to 3 key principles aimed around minimizing time in the kitchen and maximizing time, well, eating. Now, back when I was working in tech, I had the luxury of a cafeteria, coffee shop, and infinite snacks to satiate my ravenous appetite. But now that I'm on my own and working for myself, I have 3 main motivations to make my cooking somewhat more productive. First, since I'm so caught up with work and now interview prep, I want to spend as little time as possible cooking on the weekdays. And second, since I am such a cheapo, I absolutely refuse to order out. Except for the rare Taco Bell outing. But I still want to have delicious, convenient meals every day. And third, I love food and I love being in the kitchen, but I don't want to grow to hate cooking just because it's become such a chore. And while I'm still working on optimizing my breakfasts and lunches, I really think I've got dinner figured out. So let me talk about that. So most days of the week, I'm usually eating Indian food of some sort. And Indian food is actually perfect for productive cooking. Most dishes are one-pot meals. It preserves really well in the fridge for up to a week. And there is tons of room for variety, depending on the region of cuisine or the method you follow. And it's also what I know how to make. So every Saturday night, I make 2 vegetarian dishes, usually inspired by a recipe sent by my dad, or something I found on YouTube, or what was on sale at the grocery store. And then, usually on Sundays, I'll also make some dal. Now, Indian food is a labor of love, and for the flavors to truly develop, it can take some time. So as the bubbling cauldron does its thing, I'm multitasking, usually with some YouTube or a podcast, or with my parents on speakerphone. And a few hours later, I've got 2 big old pots of curry, which I enjoy on Saturday night, and then on Sunday, and Monday, and Tuesday. But by Wednesdays, I'm usually getting kind of bored. So we switch things up midweek with some oven roasted chicken and veggies. And this meal is pretty hard to mess up. I first marinate the chicken with a mishmash of spices from my pantry and portion it out for the rest of the week. And that's paired with veggies. Lots of veggies. I just load them up with some olive oil, salt, and pepper, and that's pretty much it. Pair it with some rice, maybe some soy sauce and chili flakes, and that is a delicious, simple meal. And then on Thursday night, and even for Friday's lunch, I just reheat the veggies and cook the pre-portioned chicken in the oven. And finally on Friday, since I won't order delivery, we've got the next best thing, DiGiorno's. Top it off with some onions and jalapenos, and this is a really simple, low-key meal to end the week. Essentially, my cooking routine takes advantage of batching, which is the idea of grouping like tasks together into larger chunks of time. In my case, on Saturdays, I'm in the kitchen for about 2 hours to make my Indian dinner. This includes chopping and prep and a bit of downtime. Then on Sunday, it takes about half an hour to make dal. And I actually could do this on Saturdays once I get better at multitasking. And then on Wednesday, I spend around 1 to 1.5 hours in the kitchen to chop up all the veggies, marinate the chicken, and keep an eye on the oven. And finally, Friday pizza only takes really 15 minutes. So in total, I'm spending around 3.5 to 4 hours actually cooking these main meals in the kitchen. And then every other day, we're just throwing things in the microwave, which takes max 5 minutes. So that adds up to around 4 to 5 hours a week just preparing dinner. 5 hours might seem like a lot, but it's actually less time than if I were to cook for 45 minutes every day. And on top of that, I'm reducing the amount of task switching I have to do and optimizing for all the miscellaneous chores that pile up when cooking. And we do end up eating a lot of these leftovers for lunch as well, so it's really not too bad. As far as costs go, I'm spending around $40 to $50 a week on groceries. So that's max $200 a month on food. That's the same as maybe just 7 meals of takeout. But now, besides saving a ton of money, I've also got food that has more variety, is a bit healthier, I hope, and might even taste better. Now, this routine has stemmed out of a need to optimize for time, money, and ultimately joy. In true Marie Kondo style, I wanted to eliminate, or at least minimize, every aspect of cooking that I dislike, and maximize what I enjoy. So here are my 3 key principles that help me get there. First, eliminate decision fatigue. For me, I hate going to the kitchen for dinner or a snack, rummaging through the fridge and having no idea what to eat. But now, with a few staple meals that I rotate between on set days, I always know what I'm eating, and I always have something new and exciting to look forward to. And even when grocery shopping, I've minimized decision fatigue by maintaining a grocery list that I maintain throughout the week on Trello. Whenever I run out of something or suddenly have a craving for bourbon biscuits, I just write them down right here. And since I get way too excited when shopping for food, this really helps tame my impulse buys in the grocery store. Now, there's 2 extremes to meal prep, right? You can cook once a week with stacks on stacks of Tupperware containers filled with chicken breast and brown rice and steamed broccoli. And while it actually probably tastes pretty good, I get bored of things way too quickly. Then we've got the other extreme, cooking every night. And if I wasn't doing the cooking, this would be perfect. But all I can picture is a sink full of dishes every night, which sounds pretty horrifying. Instead, I found that just right Goldilocks zone of cooking 2 to 3 times a week. And since I actually enjoy cooking for the most part, I look forward to these evenings in the kitchen as a way to wind down and divert my mind. By cooking less, I'm cutting down the things that I don't like about cooking, and I'm maximizing the parts that I like, trying new recipes, experimenting with new ingredients, and most importantly, eating. Now, no matter how much you optimize your routine, how productive you make it, you still might not enjoy cooking. Maybe it's tiring, or it seems like a waste of time, or you just don't know how to. And just a few years ago, I was there too. So here are 3 things that really help me find joy in cooking. First, it helps to have the right tools. I highly recommend the Instant Pot. It's the one tool that you need to make just about anything. And most recipes, including my favorite, dal, just have 2 steps. First, dump all the ingredients into the Instant Pot, and 2, cook. It's really that easy. And as messy as I usually am, it does help to keep things organized. I learned this the hard way living in a tiny SF apartment with 2 roommates, where my life was like the Tupperware infomercial every time I entered the kitchen. And second, use weekends for experimentation, especially if you want to get into cooking but find it to be really stressful on a workday. Since I do all my mad scientist cooking on Saturdays, I have all the time in the world to mess up. And if all else fails, I can always resort to a bowl of Maggi. And I think one of the most fulfilling aspects of cooking has been being able to have this idea in your head of something you want to eat. Maybe it's bread or pizza or dumplings. And being able to actually make that dish, something that you thought never would have been possible, from scratch is surprisingly satisfying. And yeah, I actually like cooking now, surprisingly. And yeah, that's it for today's video. Now, if there's one thing that I hope you took away from this, is that cooking doesn't have to be this chore that we resent. It can actually be fun and easy. That being said, I'm still learning a lot, so if you have any tips that you want to share or recipes that you think I should try, please let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, otherwise I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a big like and subscribe. Follow me on social media if you want to, and Yogi and I will see you in the next one. And yeah.